Welcome back to another lesson about fractions on a number line. Yesterday we worked on fractions on a number line for fractions from 0 to 1. I did give a little preview on putting fractions that are beyond 1 or greater than 1, mixed numbers and improper fractions on a number line. Today we're going to continue the work of showing fractions that go beyond 1 on a number line. So if this was my number line that I was given and I was asked to put 2 and 2/3 on the number line, this is how I would do it. First, I would label my endpoints. I know 0 and I need to show something larger than 2 because it's 2 and 2/3. So I know it's going to be 3 at my endpoint. I'm going to put my spacers in for my other whole numbers, 1 and 2. And then I'm going to start using my fraction model, the rectangle model or the bar model. I'm going to draw one above each whole number. So from 0 to 1, from 1 to 2, and from 2 to 3. Trying to be as accurate as possible at keeping those from the start of each whole number to the end of the next whole number. Okay, once I've drawn my fraction bar model, I'm going to use the denominator of 3 to split each of my wholes up into 3 equal spaces. So I'll do that first between the bar, on the bar model between 0 and 1, and then I'll do it on the bar model between 1 and 2, and on the bar model between 2 and 3. Now each of my wholes is broken up into 3 equal spaces. I can bring those lines down onto my number line. And now I'm going to label each one for the sake of practicing what it looks like to label all these fractions. So I know if I have 0 pieces colored in, then I have 0/3. My denominator stays 3 because each whole is broken up into 3 equal places. If that's 0/3, then this is 1/3 because I would have 1 piece colored in, or I would make 1 jump out of the 3 it takes me to get from 0 to 1. If I go to the next part and I have 2 colored in, or 2 jumps out of the 3 from 0 to 1, I would have 2/3. If I go to the next part, I have 3 spaces colored in my bar model for 0 to 1, or 3 jumps on my number line. I can call that 1 because it's 1 whole, or I can call it 3/3 because I've jumped 3 spaces on my number line out of the 3 it takes to make 1 whole. Or I've colored in 3 of my pieces out of the 3 it takes to make 1 whole. Now once I go beyond my 1, let's say I color in this one now. I've colored in 4 pieces. It still takes 3 pieces to make each whole. So there's 2 fractions I can call that. I can call that 4/3. Or I can call it 1 because we already have 1 whole piece here. And 1/3 because we have 1 out of the 3 pieces colored in this whole fraction. Notice how the denominator is still 3 in both of those fractions. Notice that the numerator counts up. Started at 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. When we're working with an improper fraction, it does that. If we're doing it as a mixed number, once we get past that 1, we have our 1 whole here, and then the fraction starts over at 1/3, just like it did back here. Let's continue on with labeling our fractions. If I color in another piece of this whole, I still have 1 whole piece color, or 1 whole colored in here, so I still have 1. And now I have 2 out of 3 colored in for this hole. So I have 1 and 2/3 pieces. If I do it again, I now have 1 and 3/3, or we could call that 2 because there's 2 whole fraction bars colored in. Forgot to add the improper fraction down here. So if this was 4/3, then we know that next it would be 5/3, and next it would be 6/3. Our denominator is staying the same all the time as thirds, and our numerator is counting up by 1. Let's go beyond 2 and continue our work. If I color in 1 piece here, I have 2 whole fraction bars colored in. So I have 2. And now again, I have 1 out of the 3 pieces it takes to make 1 whole. So I have 2 and 1/3. I could write that as an improper fraction as 7/3. If I color in another piece, I still have those 2 holes from before, but now I have 2 out of 3 pieces colored in. And you're right, that would be 8/3 for an improper fraction. And lastly, that would be 3 holes. Or if we wrote it as an improper fraction, it would be 9/3. I'm going to show you what your work looks like today on Seesaw. So when you go to Seesaw, you'll see a number line activity. My computer will move. Thank you. It's called Fractions on a Number Line, Day 2. And it looks like this when you view it. You can view the instructions that are written for you for how to do it, or you can see what it looks like down here. It says move the red fractions to the correct spot by using the hand button the arrow is pointing to. So here's the hand button the arrow is pointing to. If I click on that, it will let me move these fractions to the right order. I want to make sure that I put them in the correct order. I don't just go and move them over here. So I don't want to just put 6 here. I want to make sure that it's actually going to the correct location. So don't just plop them in anywhere, because when your teacher goes to look and see, are they understanding fractions on a number line, they're going to see what order you put in them. Now, right now, I'm not putting them in the correct order because I don't want to give away the work for you. But make sure that when you do it, you do put them in the correct spot of where they would go when you're counting the fractions by halves. After that one, there is one for counting your fractions by quarters, and you'll do the same procedure. You'll click on the fraction and you'll move it to the correct location, making sure that every single one is in the right location. Pay attention to those numerators and how they count up, and pay attention to the whole number. Like this is 1 and 2/4. We have 2 and 2/4. Make sure you're putting them in the correct spot. And then you have one more for your work today of putting the thirds in the correct order on the number line. After you're done with your work, you can click the green check button and it will turn it into your teacher and they can approve your post when you are done. Let your teacher know if you have any questions at all. Have a great day learning.